Muhammad was a Syrian Kurd studying in Damascus English literature. This is when the war broke out in his country, and it was no longer safe for him to stay in the city or even the country. He escaped to Iraq with just $50 in his pocket. When he got there, he met a very kind person who offered to stay him at his home. But he was too ashamed. So he spent 11 hours a day looking for any kind of job that he could do. He finally found a job in a hotel which paid just $600 a month, while he had to work 12 hours a day every day. On top of that, he was spending every free moment that he had teaching English to children to earn as much money as fast as he could. The reason was simple. He wanted to gather 1,300 euros, which is exactly what he needed to get to Europe, to continue his studies and to live a better life for himself and his family. When he finally earned that money, he went to Syria for one last time to visit his family. But he had to stay in his uncle's barn because he couldn't go to his home because it was not safe. His father came to him and begged him to leave the country because it's not safe anymore. So he went to Istanbul and was about to leave for Europe. This is when he got a call from his sister. Police came to their home and beat his father really badly, so that he was about to die and needed an urgent operation. She asked him that they need 5,000 euro, otherwise their father would die. So he sent the money that he was supposed to go to Europe with back to his family. But the worst news came 2 days later when the same sister called again and told him that ISIS had reached the oil refinery where his brother was working. And since he was a Kurd, they killed him. And in his pocket they found a card which had address to their home. They took his head and put a letter with it and sent it to their home, which said, "You are Kurdish, you are not Muslims, and we will kill you." One of his younger sisters saw that head and is unable to, hasn't spoken a word since then. He couldn't believe how things like that could be happening to his family. They have been honest, they have been hardworking, they have lived normal life, have never hurt anyone in their whole lives. They were not involved in politics. They didn't have anything to do with the protest or civil war. And yet their family was suffering in that way. Couldn't believe it. His sisters were getting threats every day that they will be killed. So he sent the rest of the money to them so that they could escape to Iraq. He had absolutely no money left, and he was still stuck in Istanbul. After a few days, his father recovered and called him. And the first question he asked, "Are you in Europe?" And he, for the first time in his life, lied to him and said, "Yes, I am." He wanted to make this lie come true. This was his only purpose left in life. He went to a smuggler and he asked him to get him to one of the Greek islands. The smuggler said, "I'm a God-fearing person. I have my kids, I have my family. I will help you." He asked him to come to one of his garage in the evening and he will take care. When Muhammad went to that garage that evening, he saw a few other people waiting for as well. And all of them were put in a van with a container of fuel, which smelled really badly and it was hard to sit there. So they started to protest. But the smuggler took out a gun from his pocket and pointed at them and told them to shut up and be quiet. He took them to the shore, put a small little boat and told them either they can get on that or not. They already paid the money, so he doesn't care. He and few others went on the boat and started to row. But just a little while later, the smuggler told them to just keep going straight and jumped out of the boat and went back to the shore. So they were on their own. They had no idea how to get there. It was dark, and it started to rain. On top of that, that small little motor that was driving that boat failed. So they were stuck in the sea with rising waves, a storm coming, and they had no idea what to do next. The woman started crying, and Muhammad was terrified out of his life. That was the worst night of his life ever. He didn't know what to do. They started praying, and he started to calm the woman down by saying that he will swim with them and take them to shore when he knew he cannot. He doesn't know how they finally managed to reach the shore. But when they reached, he kissed the land because he felt lucky to be alive. He told his group that since he spoke English, he will be the one to talk to the police. But when the police came, they didn't listen to them at all. They took out their guns and they said, hands up, and they shouted at them, Malaka! Malaka! Which is a derogatory term in Greek for people who are useless. They put them in jail for 3 days without any food or water. They begged them for just a little bit of water, but they didn't give them even one drop. Finally, they let them go, and he managed to get to the mainland. And he walked for 3 straight weeks to the border with Albania. He lived like an animal, eating grass, having no idea how he's walking. When he finally met a person at the border who was from Albania, and he asked him, are you a refugee? And he said, yes. So he said, I will help you. He didn't trust him, but he had absolutely no energy to say anything else. He accepted. This person took him to his home and told him that he had lived through a war himself, and he knows exactly how he's going through, and he will help him. So he let him stay at his home for 1 week, gave him food, gave him clothes, while he recovered from his journey. After that, it still took him 1 more month to finally get to Austria, where he applied for his refugee status. He met a very nice Austrian who offered to help him with the place and work because he had visited Syria long time ago, and he said that he had such a nice experience that he would like to help him. Because of his help, he started to have a place to live and the food to eat, so he started to learn German. He was spending 15 hours a day just trying to practice German at every opportunity that he got, reading children's books, to the point that when 8 months later he finally got his appointment for his refugee status, he asked the inspector to conduct the interview in German. The interview lasted only 10 minutes. And at the end of the interview, this inspector said, give me your ID. And he told him, you don't need your Syrian ID anymore. You are an Austrian from now on. And he gave him the citizenship. Now this is just one of the stories of refugees, and not even the worst one. But this is not just about Syria, and this is not just about now. If you look hard enough, you can find similar kind of stories from World War II of Polish people running like this. Of Balkan wars, when Balkan countries were in a civil war and people had to escape. Of the Afghan war, when they were escaping to Pakistan and Iran, and I have seen them, how they have lived. All of those stories, or even worse, are there. This is just one story out of many. Thank you.